Dear friends, Pope Francis has announced that Church will celebrate a Jubilee year on 2025 with a theme Pilgrims of Hope. Tradition dictates that each Jubilee is proclaimed through the publication of a papal or pontifical bull of indiction. By bull is meant an official document generally written in Latin bearing the seal of the Pope. The bull for the Jubilee year 2025 is SPES non confundit, which means hope does not disappoint. SPES non confundit, hope does not disappoint, is taken from Romans chapter 5, verse 5. In the spirit of hope, the Apostle Paul addressed these words of encouragement to the Christian community of Rome. Hope is also the central message of the coming Jubilee, that in accordance with an ancient tradition, the Pope proclaims every 25 years. My thoughts turn to all those pilgrims of hope who will travel to Rome in order to experience the Holy Year, and to all those others who, though unable to visit the city of the apostles Peter and Paul, will celebrate it in their local churches. For everyone, may the Jubilee be a moment of genuine personal encounter with the Lord Jesus, the door of our salvation, whom the Church is charged to proclaim always, everywhere, and to all as our hope, writes Pope in the beginning of this bull. Jubilee is a name given to a particular year. The name comes from the instrument used to mark its launch. In this case, the instrument in question is the yobel, the ram's horn used to proclaim the Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur. This Jewish holiday occurs every year, but it takes on special significance when it marks the beginning of a Jubilee year. We can find an early indication of it in the Bible. A Jubilee year was to be marked every 50 years, since this would be an extra year, one which would happen every 7 weeks of 7 years, every 49 years, according to Leviticus chapter 25, 8 to 13. Even though it wasn't easy to organize, it was intended to be marked as a time to re-establish a proper relationship with God, with one another, and with all of creation, and involved the forgiveness of debts, the return of misappropriated land, and a fallow period for the fields. We read from Leviticus chapter 25, 8 to 13. There it states, "You shall count off 7 Sabbaths of years, 7 times 7 years, and there shall be to you the days of 7 Sabbaths of years, even 49 years. Then you shall sound the loud trumpet on the 10th day of the 7th month. On the Day of Atonement you shall sound the trumpet throughout all your land. You shall make the 50th year holy and proclaim liberty throughout the land to all its inhabitants. It shall be a jubilee to you, and each of you shall return to his own property, and each of you shall return to his family. That 50th year shall be a jubilee to you. In it you shall not sow, neither reap that which grows of itself, nor gather from the undressed vines, for it is a jubilee. It shall be holy to you. You shall eat of its increase out of the field. In this year of Jubilee, each of you shall return to his property." Quoting the prophet Isaiah, the Gospel of Luke describes Jesus' mission in this way: "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to bring good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim liberty to captives and recovery of sight to the blind, to let the oppressed go free, and to proclaim a year acceptable to the Lord." Luke chapter 4, 18 to 19. Jesus lives out these words in his daily life, in his encounters with others, and in his relationships, all of which bring about liberation and conversion. Therefore, in this Jubilee year, Pope Francis makes the following appeals for hope. First, he makes the appeal to renew his appeal that with the money spent on weapons and other military expenditures, Pope Francis calls to establish a global fund that can finally put an end to hunger and favor development in the most impoverished countries, so that their citizens will not resort to violent or illusory situations or have to leave their countries in order to seek a more dignified life. The second appeal is directed to the more affluent nations to forgive the debts of countries that will never be able to repay them. The third appeal of Pope Francis for the Jubilee is directed. The Jubilee year coincide with the 1700th anniversary of the celebration of the first great ecumenical council, that of Nicaea. Pope wishes that may this serve as an appeal to all Christians, East and West, to take a decisive step toward for a unity around a common date for Easter. Dear friends, let us look at the short history of the Jubilee celebration. In 1300, Pope Boniface VIII called the first Jubilee also known as a Holy Year, since it is a time in which God's holiness transforms us. The frequency of the holy years has changed over time. At first, they were celebrated every 100 years. Later, in 1343, Pope Clement VI reduced the gap between jubilees to every 50 years, and in 1470, Pope Paul II made it every 25 years. There have also been extraordinary holy years. For example, in 1933, Pope Pius XI chose to commemorate the 1900th anniversary of the Redemption, and in 2015, Pope Francis proclaimed the Year of Mercy as an extraordinary Jubilee. The way in which Jubilee years are marked has also changed through the centuries. Originally, the Holy Year consisted of a pilgrimage to the Roman basilicas of St. Peter and St. Paul. Later, other signs were added, such as the Holy Door. By participating in the Holy Year, one is granted a plenary indulgence. Let us understand the special significance of Holy Door. It is the most powerful sign of the Jubilee, since the ultimate aim of the pilgrim is to pass through it. The opening of the door by the Pope constitutes the official beginning of the Holy Year. Originally, there was only one door at the Basilica of St. John Lateran, which is the cathedral of the Bishop of Rome. Later, to allow as many pilgrims as possible to take part in the Jubilee experience, the other Roman basilicas also opened their own holy doors. The holy door of the Basilica of St. Peter in Vatican will be opened on 24th December 2024, thus inaugurating the ordinary Jubilee. On the following Sunday, on 29th December 2024, Pope Francis will open the holy door of his cathedral, St. John Lateran, which, which on November 9 this year has celebrated the 1700th anniversary of its dedication. Then on January 1st, 2025, on the solemnity of Mary, Mother of God, the holy door of the Papal Basilica of St. Mary Major will be opened. Finally, on Sunday, January 5, 2025, will mark the opening of the holy door of the Papal Basilica of St. Paul outside the walls. And these three basilicas, these three doors will be closed on Sunday, 28th December 2025. The Holy Year will conclude in the particular churches on Sunday, 28th December 2025. But the Holy Door of Papal Basilica of St. Peter in the Vatican will close on 6th January 2026 on the solemnity of the Epiphany of the Lord. Thus, the Jubilee year will conclude. Pope wishes that during the Holy Year, the light of Christian hope illumine every man and woman as a message of hope, message of God's love addressed to all. And may the Church bear faithful witness to this message in every part of the world. A Jubilee year is a sign of reconciliation because it establishes a favorable time for conversion. We are called to put God at the center of our lives, growing toward Him and acknowledging His primacy. As Pope Francis recalled in the 2015 bull proclaiming the extraordinary Holy Year, mercy is not opposed to justice, but rather expresses God's way of reaching out to the sinner, offering him a new chance to look at himself, convert, and believe. In practical terms, reconciliation involves receiving the sacrament of reconciliation, taking advantage of this time to rediscover the value of confession and experiencing God's personal words of forgiveness. There are some Jubilee churches that stay open continuously to make available the sacrament of reconciliation. The Jubilee indulgences is a concrete manifestation of God's mercy, which goes beyond and transforms the boundaries of human justice. This treasury of grace entered human history in the witness of Jesus and the saints, and by living in communion with them, our hope for our own forgiveness is strengthened and becomes a certainty. The Jubilee indulgences allows us to free our hearts from the weight of sin because the reparation due for our sin is given freely and abundantly. In practical terms, the experience of God's mercy involves some spiritual acts indicated by the Pope. Those who cannot make the Jubilee pilgrimage due to illness or other circumstances are nonetheless invited to take part in the spiritual movement that accompanies the Jubilee year, offering up the sufferings of their daily lives and participating in the Eucharistic celebration. We close this video with the official song of Jubilee.